So in this video we're going to talk about the differences with people who don't understand why you have two different products and what product you should use for which color garment or substrate on which you're printing. So we have two products. We have a light transfer paper which is used for light garments, mainly white t-shirts or white substrates, and a dark transfer paper which is printed on any substrate or surface which is not white. The darker the garment, the more you need to use the dark transfer paper. There are some colors of t-shirts or surface on mirror image and the other doesn't. When you're printing light transfer paper, and you'll see the reason why, you're printing it in mirror image. You can see this is the same image. This is mirrored. You can tell by the text, but also by the orientation of the girl here. And on the dark transfer paper we print it normally. We do not mirror the image, and you'll see why. What we're going to do is print the light transfer paper and show you the process quickly. This is not the main instruction video. You'll find a full intricate video on our channel talking specifically about the light transfer paper, so we're just talking about the comparison here. Quite a large white area around the image. Unlike the dark transfer paper, I do need to trim it, but I don't need to worry too much about going all the way to the image. I can leave an edge. The reason I'm trimming it is mainly to shorten the process, and also the white area which is unprinted here will to a small extent show on the surface that you're printing. So it's better practice to just trim it. So roughly trimming it, leaving a little edge around the image. I'm going to line my desk with a t-shirt. This is not the t-shirt I'm printing. This is just like as a cushioning and a bit of protection for the table below. You need to make sure that the surface on which you're printing is heat resistant and will not be damaged or affected by the heat. Anything flat, tabletop, worktop, a cutting board, as long as it's flat, never ever use an ironing board or anything with which gives, which is not solid. So here's our transfer. We printed it in mirror image, and you'll understand now why. We're putting it face down on the garment. You'll find in a minute when you see the dark process that in the dark process we put it face up. So the light transfer paper is placed face down. That's why the mirror image is printed on the paper, and once we iron it, it will become true again. I'm using, as you can see, a simple iron. This one is 1400 watts. We recommend you use at least 1400 watt iron. If it's hotter, it's better. And I'm very systematically covering every area of the transfer. So that's about right. I'm going to put the iron to one side. Little stretch of the corner and peeling it away. When you read the instructions, you'll see that there is another process that we ask you to do, which is a fixing process. Excuse the noise. And the paper is supplied with the silicone sheet that we ask you to put back on top of the exposed image to give the image a quick additional press, just to make sure, in case you haven't gone all over everything, if you've missed a bit, if an area hasn't been properly stuck on. This is a fail-proof stage. You peel that away, and here is a ready image, quite stretchable, soft and ready. As you can see, the text has gone back to normal, and the text has gone back to normal and the image as was taken originally. Now let's talk about the dark transfer paper. Very similar process. We still line the surface onto which we're working with another shirt, just to give it a bit of cushioning and protection. Here is my favorite black shirt, which we're sacrificing for this video. Doesn't need to be new, this is a well-worn one. Trimmed the white edges. With the dark transfer paper, you have to remove all the white areas of the print that you do not want visible. If I leave an edge, a white edge on this image, the white edge will be visible on the garment. The reason behind it, I'll explain while I'm cutting these away. The reason behind this is that there is no white ink in your printer. When you remove the white from the background of an inkjet print, the inks are translucent, they are see-through. So if you print a dark garment using a light transfer paper, the image will be see-through, you will not see anything. And so what this paper does is introduce a white background to the image, because we're going to take the white background away by printing it onto a black shirt. So this white edge, if I print it like this white edge will be visible on a dark garment using the dark transfer paper. Unlike in the light, if you remember, where we left a white edge around the image, I'll show you quickly, and that white edge is not visible. It doesn't discolor or change anything in the shirt. So I'm going to carry on and remove this last white edge that I left here. And here's the ready image, almost ready to go. You can see that the image has been printed normally, so there's no mirror image. And we're going to place this transfer face up on the garment. But before we do that, we have to separate it from the carrier. It's a little bit fiddly, especially if you've got big thumbs like I do. Okay, so we're now separating. This is the carrier, the paper with the blue grids on the back. It's just holding everything together. Peel off a corner and just separate it. Now you don't need to panic at this stage, because this is not sticky. You can position it, reposition it, decide where you want to have it, change your mind, move around, do whatever you want. Okay? Once you decide on the position, say we want to put it center of the garment, I've got a bit of a crease at the bottom there, that's it. If I take my iron and iron directly on top of this, the unprotected ink is going to jump onto the iron and the transfer will be ruined. So what we need to do before we iron it, remember in the light transfer paper we did it after the ironing. On this occasion, before we iron it, we need to protect it with a silicone paper. This paper is included in the pack. You don't need to buy it separately. You get it ready in the pack and they're reusable. So we positioned the transfer, we peeled off the backing. It's not sticky, so you can do this at leisure, no panic. Then we cover it with a silicone paper, and you notice that the image is face up, and with the iron directly on top, using the same systematic method we did before, up and down, and making sure the whole transfer is covered, putting as much pressure as we can. Obviously don't damage yourself with the iron, but don't just lightly iron it, that's not enough. You need to actually press the transfer into the fabric as much as you can. Just peel this away and it's done. That's the dark transfer paper. And the light. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering what would happen if I use the light transfer paper onto a darker garment. And you know what? We'll show you. So this is not the intended use for this product. This is unlikely to work, or it will not work. But what we're going to do is print a light transfer paper. So this is the one with the red grids. This is a paper designed for light garments only. White and light garments only. We're going to trim it like we trimmed the other one, very roughly, leaving a small white edge around the image. Remember, there's no white ink in your printer, so the white that you see on this transfer paper is the white of the paper. And what we're going to do is put this light transfer paper onto a dark garment just to show you what happens, because a lot of you asked the question and it's a bit difficult to, you know, if you haven't used transfer paper before, it's a bit difficult to get the concept of this. Right, well, that's enough for this purpose. Again, a little stretch, little peel. As you can see, the image has gone from here, so it has been transferred onto the surface, and what we have is the invisible image. Because we've taken the white surface, the white background away from the image, the inks are translucent, they are near invisible, and you can't see anything. That's why you can't use a light transfer paper onto a dark garment. That's why the dark transfer paper, which we used on this side, has got a white background throughout, and you're transferring the white background together with the inks, so the inks remain visible. Just as a recap and a summary, you use the dark transfer on any dark colored garments, blacks, navy blues, dark greens, anything where you need the full gamut of color to be visible. Remember that all the white edges will be visible, so it works best with block, square block images or images that you can cut around all the white edges easily. It doesn't work when there's a lot of intricate graphics, or if you have to cut out letters, it's less suitable for that. The light transfer paper obviously works on white garments, but generally on anything where the image is significantly darker than the surface. So if you're printing on very light yellows or light pastel greens, and your image is dark black text, it will work. If it's an image like this, the yellows will be lost, the whites will become yellow, then you need to use the dark transfer paper.